Good morning, student. Let us begin our today's class. Is matter around us pure? This chapter we were discussing. In our previous class, we had discussed about the classification of matter on the basis of its chemical composition. So in our today's class, we are going to discuss about the elements and compounds. We had discussed previously about the classification of matter on the basis of chemical properties, that is pure substances and impure substances or mixtures. So today we are going to discuss about the subclassification of pure substances only, that is elements including metals, non-metals, metalloids and compounds. So let us begin. First of all, students, all of you must be knowing what are pure substances. So now elements are also pure substances. So now we can define elements as the basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any chemical reaction. This definition was first given by Antoine Laurent Lavoisier. Before him, Robert Boyle was the first scientist to use the term element in 1661. So, as we are knowing, elements can be further divided into metals, non-metals and metalloids. All the metals are elements, all the non-metals are elements and all the metalloids are elements. Now what are metals, what are non-metals and what are metalloids? All of you must be knowing about these three types of elements in your previous classes. So let us recall. So before recalling, these are some of the examples of elements: gold, oxygen, silver, aluminium. So can you categorize these elements as metals or non-metals or metalloids? I hope all of you can categorize it, like gold is a metal, aluminium is a metal, silver is a metal, but oxygen is a non-metal. So let us proceed. Now about metals. What are metals? Metals are those elements which are electropositive in nature. All metals are rigid, hard, except sodium and potassium. These two metals are the soft metals. We are knowing the properties of metal, that metals are malleable, and malleability is the property of hammering into thin sheets, and metals are ductile, means it can be drawn into thin wires. Metals conduct heat and electricity, means all metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. Metals having the lustrous property, means they are having the shining appearance. Metals have silvery gray or golden yellow color. Metals are sonorous, means on beating they produce a ringing sound. So these are some of the properties of metals. All of you must have studied these basic properties, these physical properties of metals. And I hope all of you are able to give so many examples of metals, like examples of metals like gold, silver, copper, iron, sodium, potassium, etc. There are various examples in the periodic table. And mercury is the only metal that is liquid state at room temperature. And beside mercury, there are gallium, cesium, francium. These metals are also in liquid state, slightly above room temperature. Okay, so now moving towards non-metals. Non-metals are those elements which are electronegative in nature. All non-metals are not malleable, not ductile, not sonorous, not lustrous, except diamond, iodine. These are showing the property of lustrous. Now non-metals exist in all three states: solid as well as liquid and gases. Liquid non-metal is bromine. Okay, so non-metals also are bad conductor of heat and electricity. And examples of non-metals you can also give hydrogen, oxygen, iodine, carbon, bromine, chlorine, etc. So these are some of the properties of non-metals. Most of the properties you must have read in your previous classes. And now coming towards the metalloids. So what are metalloids? Metalloids are those elements which is showing the intermediate properties between those of metals and non-metals. For example, boron, silicon, germanium. So these are those elements which is showing some properties of metals as well as non-metals. So these all are the examples of elements. Means elements includes metals, non-metals and metalloids. So once again we can define element as the basic form of matter which cannot be broken down into simpler substances by any chemical reactions. So I hope elements is clear to you. Further toward compounds. So what are compounds? A compound is a substance which is composed of two or more than two elements, and those two elements are present in chemically combined manner with each other, and those are chemically combined with each other in a fixed ratio. Means the compounds are those substances which is consisting of two or more than two elements. So we can say that when the elements combine, some of the individual property of the elements is lost and the newly formed compounds has new properties. So compounds are represented by their chemical formula, means all the compounds are having their own chemical formula. Like for example, you can see water, H2O, it is also a compound. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, it is also a compound. So there are some more examples. Let us proceed towards the examples. So these are some more example of compounds like ammonium chloride, that is NH4Cl, sugar C12H22O11, sodium chloride, that is consisting of table salt NaCl, water again H2O. So all these are the examples of compound. How these all are the examples of compound? Because we can say that compounds, these are, suppose if we are considering the example of water, then how water is a compound? We can say that it is consisting of more than two elements, or more than means it is consisting of hydrogen as well as oxygen. So both hydrogen and oxygen is present in chemically combined manner. It is not so like hydrogen and oxygen are present in individual form. It is present in water form, H2O, having a particular formula in chemically combined manner, and the combining ratio is also fixed. Like in H2O, the combining ratio of hydrogen and oxygen in terms of atoms is 2:1, and in terms of mass it is 1:8, because the atomic mass of hydrogen is 1 and that is for oxygen is 16. So here two hydrogen atom is there, so 2:16, that is 1:8. So the combining ratio of the elements in any compound is also fixed. So that's why it is also an example of compound. Further, we can also say that it is not possible to separate the individual components or individual elements of a particular compound by using simple physical methods. We need to apply some chemical methods for separating, like for separating hydrogen and oxygen from water molecule or from H2O, we need to do the electrolysis process. Okay, so after that, further we can say that the properties of the compound is different from the property of the constituent elements. Means whatever the property properties are shown by the water is totally different from the properties which are shown by its constituent elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So we can say that these all are the examples of compound. We can also say that for sugar, it is also a compound. Again, we can say all those points for sugar as well. So proceed further towards the properties of compounds. I hope you have understood how we can call any compound a compound. Okay, so let us read some properties of compound. So a compound is composed of two or more than two elements. The first property. Second one, the elements are present in chemically combined manner. We are knowing in any compound, the elements are present in chemically combined manner, chemically bonded manner. Next one, the combining ratio of the elements are fixed in any compound. We are knowing that the ratio of the elements which are present in any compound is fixed. Now next one, the properties of the constituent elements of a compound is different from the properties of the compound itself. Obviously just now we have discussed this regarding H2O as well. Means whatever the properties shown by hydrogen and oxygen itself is totally different from the properties shown by water. Now moving further, the constituent elements can't be separated by physical methods. For separation, chemical methods are required. So this point also we had discussed for water as an example. So I hope these all properties regarding compounds are clear to you. And now you can have a concept that all the elements and all the compounds are the pure substances. Today we have discussed regarding the subclassification of pure substances, that is element and compound. So these are the basic differences between element and compound. So have a look on these. So just for a 1 minute, an element cannot be broken into simpler substances by any physical or chemical process. For element we are knowing that, and for on the other hand for compound, it is composed of two or more elements in chemically combined manner in definite proportion by mass, means or in terms of mass or in terms of atoms. And on again for element have their own fixed physical and chemical properties. On the other hand for compound, physical and chemical properties of a compound are different from those of its constituent elements. Again for element, an atom is the smallest particle of an element taking part in a chemical reaction. And for compound, a compound cannot be separated into a constituents by simple mechanical means by simple physical methods. We need to apply chemical methods for their separation. So I hope these basic differences you have understood. So students, today we have discussed about the types of pure substances, that is elements and compounds. Thank you students.